I traded a 2013 Ford Focus ST for this 2007 ACURA TSX.
In this video, we're going to talk about why I chose the 2007 ACURA TSX for the powertrain for this project. Let's start with the specs of the car. 2007 ACURA TSX came with a iVTEC 2.4 liter Honda powertrain. This particular engine has 205 horsepower on the factory. This particular car came with a 5C sequential sport shift automatic. This particular engine was tweaked to 205 horsepower for only 2 years, 2006 and 2007. During those 2 years, the 2006 had problems with the automatic transmission, so that's why I picked the 2007 to be exact. This brings us to one of the main reasons why I picked this. This engine has a cult following. Anytime you have a cult following in something, you can get parts for it aftermarket for a very long time. These engines are pushing into thousands of horsepower now. That's how much support they have. This is one of the sought after motors that most people are looking. Problem with that is you can't get just the motor, transmission, everything for a low price. You normally have to get the whole car. Which brings me to another reason why I picked this whole car instead of just getting the parts and pieces to build the car. The way I'm going to use the car is a complete suspension, drivetrain. If I can get it to work, I'm going to be using the ABS brakes. The 2013 Ford Focus ST that I traded for this was worth about $4,000 more than the car, but the problem was it was kind of a collectible car, very hard to sell in the market. Everybody was looking for something really cheap and I couldn't even find a buyer for it. It just so happened the owner of this car wanted to trade. Just got lucky in that way. Even with about $10,000 invested in the whole thing, if you look at using suspension and everything else, I saved a significant amount of money. A lot of people watch these car shows and they don't realize how much it costs to build all these individual parts or buy them aftermarket. Most people don't know enough about suspension setup, travel, bump steer, all these different things. But this car comes with it already in it. So if I just basically cut out the chassis and put the chassis in the back of the car, it'll all be set up exactly the way it was from the factory. Another advantage of this is having time savings. Time savings of this is astronomical. I don't have to build all this stuff. I don't have to set it up. I don't have to make the jigs. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I have something special for the front suspension where I'm going to almost do the same thing. Basically, I'm going to take the front end out of another Honda car and put it in the front of it. So it's going to allow me to do the same thing that I'm doing in the rear. It saves a lot of time, a lot of trouble, setup, all these different things that I won't have to do. Once you calculate all the suspension and all the other parts that you'd have to buy for this car to build the car from scratch and build all that suspension, build all this chassis, the subframe, all the brakes and all kind of stuff like that I'm going to be using off the car, you've been well over 20 grand, probably in the 30s actually, just for those parts. And that right there alone is enough savings to buy the whole car. I should be able to take this car to a Honda dealer. If I have a problem, they can hook up their computer to it and fix it, just like any other Honda. Now with the cult following, you also have the advantage of getting aftermarket wiring harnesses, computers, programmers, all kinds of stuff that you can get for this car. If you really want to go deep into it and get away from the Honda dealer, you can customize and do everything yourself, throw turbos on it, do whatever you want to do as far as boosting horsepower. But with 205 horsepower, I really think it's going to be enough for this car, especially to start out with. I think it's going to be pretty quick.
That about wraps it up today. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bells for future videos. Got one coming out soon on Gia. See you next time.